In a valley painted green and gold, nestled between rolling hills, lived a little horse named Benny. Now, Benny wasn't like the other horses on Sunny Meadow Farm. They were big and strong, with muscles that rippled like waves in a pond. Benny was small. So small, in fact, that the farm cats sometimes mistook him for a very large, very fluffy dog.
Ho, ho, ho!
While the other horses spent their days grazing peacefully, content with the gentle rhythm of farm life, Benny's heart beat to a different drum, a fast, thundering rhythm, like the hooves of a champion racehorse. He would watch the clouds race across the sky and imagine himself on a grand racetrack, the crowd roaring his name as he galloped towards the finish line. The bigger horses would often snicker when they saw him practicing.
Ho, ho, ho!
He'd try to sprint across the pasture, his little legs moving like a whirlwind, but he'd often trip over a stray root or get distracted by a particularly juicy patch of clover. "Look at little Benny," one of them would nag. "He thinks he's a racehorse." Another would add, "He's more like a pony's pony." Their words stung, but they couldn't extinguish the fire in Benny's heart.
Ho, ho, ho!
He just knew deep down in his hooves that he was meant for more than just grazing in a quiet field. He was meant to run. One sunny afternoon, while trying to perfect his racing start near the old weathered fence, Benny noticed an old horse he'd never seen up close before. He was in the far corner of the pasture, a majestic but weary-looking horse with a coat the color of a stormy sky and eyes that held 1,000 stories.
Ho, ho, ho!
This was Strom, a name once whispered with all and every racetrack in the country. He was a legendary champion, now retired, living out his days in the quiet solitude of Sunny Meadow. Intrigued and a little nervous, Benny trotted over. "Excuse me, sir," he squeaked. "Is it true you were a racehorse?" Strom turned his head slowly, his wise old eyes studying the little horse before him. A faint smile played on his lips. "I was," he said, his voice a low, rumbling whisper.
Ho, ho, ho!
A long time ago, Benny's own eyes widened with excitement. "I want to be a racehorse, too. More than anything. But everyone says I'm too small." Strom looked at Benny, seeing not just his size, but the immense, burning passion within him. He saw a younger version of himself. "It's not the size of the horse in the race," Strom said gently. "It's the size of the race in the horse. If you truly have the heart of a champion, I will teach you."
Ho, ho, ho!
And so their training began. Every morning, before the sun had even kissed the dew from the grass, Benny and Strom were out in the field. Strom was a tough but patient mentor. He taught Benny how to breathe, how to find a rhythm in his stride, how to lean into the turns. Their training sessions were a sight to behold. Benny would practice running up the steepest hill on the farm, his little legs pumping, his lungs burning, with Strom shouting encouragement from the bottom.
Ho, ho, ho!
"Keep your head up, Benny. Power from your hind legs." There were many failures. Benny stumbled, he fell. He got mud all over his face more times than he could count. One time, he tried to jump over a small stream and ended up right in the middle of it, splashing water everywhere, looking more like a soggy mouse than a racehorse. The other horses laughed, but Benny just shook himself off, and with a determined look in his eyes, he tried again.
Ho, ho, ho!
And again. Strom taught him that every fall was a lesson, every stumble a chance to learn balance. Slowly but surely, Benny started to change. His small frame grew lean and strong. His sprints became faster, his stride more confident. He was no longer just the little horse with a big dream. He was a dedicated athlete in the making. Months passed, and the annual county fair race was announced. It was a chance for local horses to showcase their speed.
Ho, ho, ho!
Strom knew it was time. "Benny," he said one evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange and pink. "You're ready." Benny's heart pounded in his chest. Fear and excitement swirled within him. Was he really ready? He was still so much smaller than the other competitors he saw practicing. The doubts of the other horses echoed in his ears. But then he looked at Strom, at the unwavering belief in his mentor's eyes, and he knew he had to try.
Ho, ho, ho!
He wasn't just running for himself anymore. He was running for Strom and for every small dreamer who was ever told they couldn't. Race day arrived. The air was thick with the smell of popcorn and the buzz of an excited crowd. The racetrack was a grand, imposing oval of dirt surrounded by cheering faces. Benny stood at the starting line, dwarfed by the towering, muscular horses beside him. They looked down at him, some with amusement, others with disdain.
Ho, ho, ho!
"What's this little pony doing here?" one of them sneered. Benny's legs trembled. For a moment, he wanted to run back to the safety of his quiet pasture. But then he remembered Strom's words, "The race is won in your heart before it has won on the track." Find your fire, Benny. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and thought of the wind on his face, the feeling of freedom, the pure joy of running. He found his fire. The starting bell clanged and the gates flew open.
Ho, ho, ho!
The large horses burst forward in a thunderous wave of dirt and power. Benny, for a split second, was lost in the dust. The crowd gasped, thinking the little horse was already out of the race. But then something amazing happened. Emerging from the cloud of dust was a small, determined figure. Benny was running like never before. He remembered Strom's lessons: breathe, find the rhythm, use the turns.
Ho, ho, ho!
He wasn't just running, he was flying. He weaved through the pack, his small size becoming his greatest advantage. He could navigate the tight spaces the bigger horses couldn't. As they rounded the final turn, Benny was neck and neck with the biggest, fastest horse in the race, a stallion named Titan. Titan was a powerhouse, but he was starting to tire. Benny, however, felt a surge of energy. He had trained for this. He had pushed past his limits every single day.
Ho, ho, ho!
He dug deep, pouring every ounce of his heart and soul into his final push. The crowd was on its feet, their roars deafening. They weren't laughing at the little horse anymore, they were cheering for him. In the final stretch, Benny's heart, not his size, propelled him forward. He stretched his neck, his nose crossing the finish line just a heartbeat before Titan's silence. Then an eruption of cheers. Benny had done it. He had won.
Ho, ho, ho!
He stood there panting, his small chest heaving, as the crowd chanted his name. The other horses looked on in disbelief. Through the cheering crowd, Benny saw Strom standing by the fence, a single tear of pride rolling down his weathered cheek. Benny wasn't just the small horse from Sunny Meadow Farm anymore. He was Benny, the champion. His victory was a testament to the idea that no dream is too big and no dreamer is too small.
Ho, ho, ho!
It showed everyone that with courage, perseverance, and a little bit of help from a friend, anything is possible. So whatever your dream is, no matter how impossible it seems, remember Benny. Run your race, find your fire, and never, ever give up. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to follow for more inspiring stories.
Ho, ho, ho!